He's very well practiced on it. Looked to be much stronger than when we saw Sake play it earlier on. Reset has 2 games played as well, but definitely feels like SC is the better Nazebo player, comparing both Reset and Sake. So that's something to keep in mind as we will likely see Dragonshire in this best of 5.
Let's
get into the draft. It's time.
Draft that. Something also to keep in mind that Sake has been playing Falstad regardless of which battleground it is. He has been putting lots of lane pressure all the time, even in BOE or even in Spider Queen sometimes. So if he's given the chance to take Falstad, I'm pretty sure MVP will likely going to snatch that out of L5's hand.
Yep.
Insta-ban on Zeratul. That's a respect.
That is not going to be a factor in this series. Very likely it's going to be perma-banned. Here's the ETC pickup, or rather, denial.
Even with that change, there's an instant Muradin pickup for Noblesse, of course. The god, the Muradin god.
So this is how the top 3 teams normally draft. Tempest has shown some exception to this recently, especially today, but you always want to take heroes that are going to pair well with anything early on first pick, and that's going to be the Muradin so far. This gives Black Tyrael and Li Ming. Li Ming is the best range damage on this map. Poke and wipe those immortals down to low health once you win the first fight, or even if you have an even exchange. It's so difficult to deny Li Ming's consistent damage coming out. Sergeant Hammer is going to be the other side of this.
With Li Ming, they have already kind of revealed their team comp because they want to have the focus attack, stay on that sanctification, try to get that reset onto Li Ming for reset to actually pull that potential power off. And L5 with that Muradin. But with these 2 pickups on the second rotations, they have to show their theme going into the draft. I think
this may be where it's time to grab the Nazebo. So this going to give them a lot more burn damage.
Or Vala is still open for that Q Vala if they choose to.
That's another
It doesn't
option.
even have to be Q Vala. They can still go into that multiple.
They are going to take it with the Arthas as well, the soft counter to the Tyrael. So good response here from L5.
But they can't. Okay, L5 can't just do Vala. They need some more protection. Maybe a Zarya to come in with the extra damage coming out. Would be a solid comp coming out from L5.
Could be the Zarya. Could be, once again, potentially Nazebo. Malfurion is highlighted here for the ban. Looks like that's what Black wants to remove. Look to the Ariel instead afterwards, though. The combination of Vala and Ariel together is so powerful. You're more worried about that than the roots.
The heals and also the ages. Just protect Vala all the time.
The Hammer is the obvious ban here because you know that if you give Hammer and Li Ming, you're going to have to dive so hard in order to fight them when they're ahead on the Immortals and they're just poking. It's so difficult to do, especially when there's a Tyrael there. So Malfurion coming out. I'll see if L5 wants to stick with this theme of poke and bring in also the Nazebo themselves.
But with MVP Black, with Tyrael having the potential of diving in, with that, if you pop that Senk in the middle, you want to have that burst, such as Greymane, to actually go for that immortal race also.
Yeah, Greymane is another great choice here with the Tyrael. Depends on how much they want to stay back and focus on the ranged or focus on the combat potential with the Tyrael.
I think they're also trying to decide if they want to bring Tychus for themselves, as there is Muradin onto the other side, but instead, as we talked about before, is it going to be Falstad?
Sake has been playing so much Falstad on this map, and you know, Falstad is considered to be a hero that's only really strong on large maps with multiple lanes and global soaking, but even on this one, Falstad has been used oftentimes just because of his ability to split push, his ability to change a fight with gust, the ability to fly at an odd angle and push half of your opponent's team away with a gust is still pretty good. Even if you remove split soaking and remove the global presence factor. So L5 now, will they commit to the Zarya for the extra damage and the protection of Vala, or will they look for more damage and later game scaling with the Nazebo? I think those are really 2 great options for L5. May even be the Lucio in terms of support, but yeah, it's going to be a question between those 2 main ones. It could even go to the Greymane, but there's no protection. That's the big issue here for L5 with a pick like that. It's going to be Tychus instead. So of a third option in terms of range damage. Artanis comes in here for Black, and in terms of the map objective, I really do feel that Black has the edge here. Yeah, Falstad is going to scale well into the late game with the Seasoned Marksman to help rush the Immortals down. They have the amateur opponent with Artanis, and they have all this amazing poke with Li Ming. It would replace Falstad with Sergeant Hammer in an instant if they could. That would be the only way this comp could be more perfect. But it was banned away, and now they're going to bring in the Falstad as we go into game number 1. Do tell your friends that MVP Black versus L5 is happening live right here, right now. Let's jump into game number 1 on Battlefield of Eternity. In blue, MVP Black, Sake on Falstad, Reset on Li Ming, Tist on Tyrael, Kyocha on Artanis, and Meride on Malfurion.
And in red, Team L5, SCSE on Bala, Nachojin on Tychus, Jungha on Arthas, Noblesse on Muradin, Swoi on Lucia.
Here we go, G-Clef. It's time for game number 1 to begin. Seasoned Marksman will be the choice for Falstad, as expected, and it is going to be the Q build for Vala for that extra damage on the Immortals.
They are both going for that Immortal race. As Black will have a little bit better of a poke, but L5 will have better mid-range fight.
By the way, just to point this out, as we always make the joke about resets, but he is 10-1 on Li Ming. This is his most played hero. He has dropped only 1 map his entire time playing the hero. It is his best by far, and he is the world's best Li Ming. No one will ever dispute that claim. So he gets Li Ming on Li Ming's best map. And that's a terrifying thing for L5 to have to deal with.
That's exactly why they picked up Li Ming from the very first draft. And Tyrael gets caught in the middle, just gets significant amount of damage, but it actually, Tychus caught into the root and gone. There's the first kill.
First blood will go to MVP Black. Just really good coordination and target selection there. The squishy Tychus bursting him down with focus fire. As we see Noblesse comes up here for the gank and actually gets rooted. And I don't think he has a shield. He's going to try for it with a swap. Not going to get it in time. It's been too long on the cooldown, even with those auto attacks there.
Maybe he thought he was dead anyhow, so he just tried the swap.
Definitely.
I think he could have just walked away, possibly.
It was going to be close.
It was going to be very close.
I thought he must have been about to get a shield, so that's why he did it. And he was going to try to get the pick and then escape.
Of course, the wall ride will help him go past. It's one of the talent that we've been seeing a lot in Korea, just within Meride, Swoi, and Hyde, especially the top 3 teams in Korea.
Yeah, these are the players. The lower teams have actually been doing the passive speed boost. I think it's because you have to be the best to actually make this talent really worth it. Meride is going to get caught here and rooted, so 2 picks now for L5 already based on Arthas Howling Blast alone. And Nachojin is the next target here as MVP Black tries to turn this one around, but they don't have any sustained healing now. And Reset is going to be forced away. It's going to be a double for L5.
They do manage to pick up a kill onto Tychus, but not much of a follow-up after that, so it's going to be a good trade for L5 for sure.
Yep, they win.
Falstad can just fly in any time.
And with this winning in the exchange, they actually get a massive lead on the Immortal health as well. So now about halfway there. As MVP Black respawns and comes back in. Sake doing massive amounts of damage here. The amateur opponent, though, making this race a lot easier for L5. MVP Black is forced to invade and defend. Gocha actually gets caught here. Yes, he's going to go down. Tries to swap his way out. Still gets a kill on the Vala, actually, and survives.
What a swap there by Gocha.
That was insane. Noblesse is in trouble. Nice dwarf toss there. As it turns out, the dwarf toss moves faster than the orb.
Yes, barely made it out. I think the orb almost connected onto that dwarf's butt there.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like it hit it to me, but I can't see the world in 1s and 0s like these guys do. So, Now almost dead even on the Immortals.
Indeed, and
Verdant's healed back up.
And as we see, R10 is just tagging this Immortal by himself. Bala is on that queue.
This is the idea, is just to invade defensively while having Kyocha wail on the Immortal. This gives him a 2k lead right now. He's actually going to come back for the fight, though. Nitrogen's insanely low. Tries to avoid the root. Dodges the orb. Aldruins comes in. Tist wants the smite kill here.
He wants to get the kill, and there's the kill onto Tychus. Leeming did get the reset, but reset is very low on mana.
Oh! Threads the needle over the wall!
Perfect shot.
Avoids getting
target.
Avoids hitting the Shaman as well. Goes through, gets that kill. Part of that comes from the reset he got from that pick onto Tychus. And that was the commitment of Tyrael to jump in to go for that smite kill that actually worked out. He's already hearthed home and healthy now for this Immortal push. So Black has the lead now pretty massively in this game. They're going to hit level 7 first. And push with this Immortal. Already pre-setting up this lane.
Here we go. This is the first Immortal of the game. Going to Black, and they're going to just tear down this first ball as Gyocha. Actually, Gyocha has been having some troubles in laning. And actually, dash is cancelled from the root there, and Gyocha will go down. And this is not the first time, as Gyocha, whenever he's on that Artanis, he had some trouble against lower teams also.
He's been the target of many ganks, and that's the second time he's been picked like this.
Vala did get punished for overextending a little bit into position. That's a good trade at least for MVP Black. And Sake, this is where he comes around. And after level 7, after that hammering comes in, he's going to have that lane pressure all the way to the end. It's going to start now, but until the late game, he's always going to be at the other side of the lane, soaking EXP for his team to have that level advantage to win the fights.
Sorry.
You okay?
No, the breathing into my water that I just drank experiment was not a success. So, coming back to life here. So, it's actually going to be extra damage coming out at level 7 for Artanis, the follow through there. Pretty rare actually to see that, but it gives him just a little bit of extra boost on damage. You actually lose a lot of damage on the Immortal if you actually Q, because you miss a lot of autos. So it's really just to give him a little bit of boosted damage on his W when he goes for the charge in and attack there. Kyocha looking for some potential swapping there, but the gate was not down.
Let's try to do some more damage onto the gate and to the tower at the same time. MVP Black does have that EXP lead with Falstad soaking in lane a little bit more extra. But L5 is not too behind.
It's funny that we live in a world now too where Tist was this up-and-coming warrior player. He was on MVP Miracle for quite some time. The team didn't have as much success as people expected them to. But I think you could very clearly say that now, in terms of comparing them one-to-one, Tist has surpassed Sign. He has taken his place, and he is playing better than Sign ever did. So I think seeing that pick off earlier in that last fight was what allowed the reset to go down for reset so he could get that second kill. His knowledge of these heroes and what the limits he could push with a hero like Tyrael, for example, is pretty impressive. Black is now going to hit 10 first for this Immortal phase. It's like they just going to have Sake split push to get it, which is what we were talking about earlier. Sake loves his split pushing right now. This is his most played hero these days and always picks on this map. Nitrogen wanted to look for the interrupt, but he is unsuccessful. No plus the Storm Bolt, but that's
with that extra soak, they hit 10 before, so it's going to be so much harder for L5 to contest. They have to soak in lane. It also shows the trust and the level of communication, how well they communicate through the team to have Sake pushing onto the side all the time.
Yeah, Nacho Jin is just going to have to clear this wave. They're going to give up the first phase of the Immortal and then come in for the second with that extra soak. They still don't have 10, but they can't just let this go. It's going to be fully shielded otherwise. Big pulse here. The blind comes down. It's going to make it very difficult for L5 to engage. It was a long blind there. Now the Sanctification coming up. L5 is actually just going to back off here. It is going to be a 100% shielded Immortal as SC is actually on the retreat here. Look at Tist on the chase. Is positioning a good smite to give everyone the speed boost they needed to actually close the gap there. Very well done. And L5 just didn't have heroics. That's the big story here. Only 2 used for MVP Black though. The Sanctification, the main one, as the pulse is on such a low cooldown.
Black can even use Falstad on this smaller map with 2 lanes to have that extra soak with Falstad. I think that made the biggest difference, and L5 just hitting level 10. They still have a very good chance of coming back with that Q Vala, as she is getting that quest done onto the Q.
Okay, big Howling Blast here. There's no follow-up though. Noblesse.
It is Strafe instead.
No, Noblesse is looking
There's a big
for...
swap that's not connected into the root. There's the sound barrier for the safety. Strafe is actually doing a lot of damage.
Yep, Noblesse comes in now though. He actually was saving that avatar for a hard engage, but I think he may have been playing too much with fire here as he is likely to fall. Down he goes. This means Reset is going to get those critical mass pox here. It's going to get a double. It's going to be the triple, quadruple, and Reset is just forcing his way over the wall. And it's a team wipe, and that is going to be it. Very likely in this game, man. L5 has a quick respawn here because we're only at 9:30, but if anyone who's ever watched MVP Black on this map, well, they win it fast, and they're going in. Amateur opponent with the Hortense is going to help them push down this core. L5's coming in to do what they can.
Sanctification is back just now. It's going to pop. There we go, right in front of the core, and that's going to be GG. First game going to MVP Black. But just for the moment, yeah, it is GG going to MVP Black.
Well played. That was all about Reset there in that last fight. Tist helping secure the kills, Reset coming in, and Calamity is a pretty strong talent. Comes in, just teleports right over the wall, gets the multi-kill there. John couldn't even get out. And I feel like this was not L5's game. They didn't have the draft for the map, and they just could not team fight against Reset's Li Ming. If he continues to play this well, I feel like it may actually warrant a targeted ban early on in the game, which, you know, you could argue that that decision should be made by L5, but if they do that, and, you know, this opens up other possibilities, like Zeratul, for example, to come in. So risky, and now Black is going to dominate this beginning map. They're going to have the second map choice as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're going to bring us to Sky Temple, not against L5.
Well, we'll see. Maybe they would still want to keep that momentum going, because either 3-0 or it's going to be very tough for them to climb up to the first place. And I think Reset's Li Ming really deserves a ban. And even, I think what makes the bigger difference, though,